We're live. Hi, Eric.
Hi, Chris.
How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
We're into this thing where we look at each other, then we look at the camera,
Look at the camera.
then we look at each other, look at the baby, look at the
Yeah.
baby.
What was that movie? Oh, hi, Mark. It's the
Oh.
worst movie ever made. James Franco was in the remake.
Oh, yeah. I know which one you're speaking of. I never saw it. I was just thinking of 50 First Dates when he's like, "Hi, I'm..." Yeah. All right, so we want to get something in quick today.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to keep it under 10 minutes so we can put it on our LinkedIn as well. So we're going to change it up. Normally we do the Sandler rules. Now we're doing the Sandler rules for sales leaders, also adapted and written by Dave Mattson. I know that you don't know these as well as I drill you on the other ones, but do you know rule number 30 of the rules for sales leaders offhand?
No.
Care for your customers.
You threw me a curveball there.
Care with a K, K-A-R-E.
Yeah, I know KARE.
And CARE is creating strategies to match your targets. So, let me jump in here, read you the first couple paragraphs, or the bullet points,
Okay.
and we'll jump into it. So, CARE is profiling, a powerful strategy component in territory management that tags each of your prospects and clients with one of four designations. K is for current clients you want to keep. A is for accounts you don't have but wish you could attain. R is for customers you used to have, now would like to recapture. And E is for current accounts where you wish your wallet share could expand. So, keep, attain, recapture, expand.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I brought this up is I mentioned I was having a bus stop conversation with one of their dads, and he was talking about how much work they have, but they really want to go after some better jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the clients aren't exactly the best. They've got a lot of work. They'd like to have better work. So I mentioned to him CARE as a concept, and now I want to bring it to the expert, Erik Meier, EAM Consulting Group, owner of the Franchises for Franchise in Troy, Michigan, Lansing, Michigan, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Eric, give me some insight on CARE.
Sure. So, if you think of a distinction for current clients or prospects, that's usually where we'll help the companies we're working with use CARE as an application in the world. So a lot of organizations have accumulated, if they've been around for a while, book of business that might be keep accounts. And here's what keep accounts mean. If you can kind of picture them, anyone who's listening, maybe you've got some keep accounts, you'd want to know that this is the case. Keep accounts buy consistently on a consistent basis. So it's relatively predictable revenue.
Yeah.
Right?
Keep. Current maintenance client. Acceptable profitability. Minimal growth potential.
Yep.
Low level of vulnerability. Acceptable relationships. Minimal investment. Managed service costs.
Yeah. So maybe you've got an account where every year you've got to renew it. Likely it renews anyway. But the problem that happens with keep accounts, we'll find, is it's good baseline revenue. It's great baseline revenue. In most cases, it floats companies and keeps them going. But if they're keep accounts, probably over time, we only really talk to them when we either want something from them, right? Or there's a problem, they want us to do something for them.
Yeah.
Right? And just like any good relationship, if you thought about your beautiful wife and the only time the two of you talked is if you wanted something from her or she wanted something from you, then she may not over time be your beautiful wife. You may think of your relationship differently, right?
At that point, it's just transactional.
Just transactional, right?
Yep.
So, we have a strategy we like to talk about to be intentional with things like nurture calls. So if you've got a client who is a keep account, you want to make strategic nurture calls to that organization or the individuals there on some type of regular basis, whether it's monthly or quarterly. And
Just a how you doing.
Just a how you doing, right? Nurture
No
call.
upsell.
Nope.
No invoice talk. Just a how you doing.
Yep, just thinking about you. Want to give you a call, see how you're doing. How's your world? Didn't need anything from you. A lot of times it's a voicemail, but it falls in a very healthy and positive way for that relationship. At a minimum, make sure that we don't only talk when we need stuff from each other.
It's a touch.
It's a touch. And
Talk to me about Attains.
So, you think of Attain, one of the easiest ways to have incredible pressure for a seller every year is when they get goals, and they got revenue goals, and they've got to try to figure out how to get to those goals, right? And in most cases, not all cases, there are some industries where they have very few prospects to go after, but in most cases, the pool is, is always full, right? I mean, there's an endless supply of ideal prospects that could become ideal clients. So the strategy of Attain is to identify, I call it a top 50 or a top 100 list, right? They meet everything, all the criteria, all of the high water marks for your next best client.
Well, let's roll that back.
Yep.
Do an ideal client profile.
Do an ideal client profile, yeah.
Size of the company.
Yep.
Geography.
Yep.
Age of the company.
Yep.
Revenue. Number of employees.
Yep.
Ideal client profile, and then build that top 100 off of your ideal client
Off
profile.
your ideal client profile. And, likely pains that you want to help them solve and fix. So not just problems they have, but ideal pains that you are able to quickly identify that they're likely to look at you as a solution for.
This is Prospecting 101.
Yeah.
So what I'll say from the book on Attain, new business targets, profile match, ideal client profile sheet, low level of vulnerability, projected acceptable profitability, projected acceptable growth potential, acceptable pursuit, investment, neutral relationships.
Yep.
They don't like you, you don't like them. They don't dislike you, you don't dislike them.
Yep.
These are the people that we want to attain. This is what we do in sales. This is kind of the core one. Let's go on to recapture.
Well, real quick on Attain too.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best value after you've identified your Attain accounts is to just start on stage 1 of the Sandler process, which is bonding and rapport. So just simply introducing yourself, suggesting that there might be an opportunity to work together at some point because they meet the ideal client profile of people you normally work with, but making no assumptions that there's a reason even to have that conversation. Just simply, hey, I want to give you a call, introduce myself. I don't know that we've ever had a chance to meet, and that can be step 1. Right?
Yeah.
It's about building that trust and credibility so that Attain eventually either becomes another good keep or when we get to expand account.
The email you just showed me today that you got the green light on. When did you start that bonding and rapport relationship? You don't have to mention him by name.
Yeah,
You
no,
said
that's 6 years ago.
6 years.
Yeah.
Started with a phone call. Ideal client profile.
Yep.
Now it's
there. Now it's
Yep.
now it's a new expand and likely one of the best expands we've ever captured.
Speaking of the word capture, recapture. Those that used to be clients.
I don't have any of those.
Well, Sandler does. I'm going to go after some of them.
I have plenty of those. Every client will leave you at some point, whether it's for reasons that you created or reasons they created. But it's important to remember 100% of your client list will eventually fall off.
And I want to make a real important point on this. Some of our clients here at Sandler are transactional.
Oh, yeah.
We do a conference. We do a coaching session. We do a assessment for them. Most of them are relationship based. But as we're talking about enterprise selling under this rule, a lot of these clients are transactional. The recapture is you sold them something once, they bought, there is no maintenance agreement, there is no support, there is no service, there is no subscription. But they did like you at one point, they did buy from you, there wasn't a breakup.
Yep.
Do they have other pains that you can now bring back and have a solution for? So recapture, do you want to jump in there or should I just read it right from the bullet points?
No, a couple of thoughts on recapture. So the reason that the relationship came to an end, hopefully was just a natural move because what needed to be done was done and then that was it, right? And there wasn't anything immediately needed after that. And so that's fine. Sometimes though, companies will make mistakes in the relationship and that will lead to that client becoming open to a competitor and then that competitor takes them and now they become an opportunity for recapture again, right? So one of the challenges typically with recapture accounts is that there's a preconceived notion as to why they're not working with us, and that generally will get in the way as to why they'll ever work with us again.
Yeah.
So, let's just say I had a client, we did some work together, that work came to an end. I probably have in my head some idea as to why they're not working with us, and so that keeps me from aggressively pursuing the idea of working together again. So it's a good strategy, knowing that that's probably true, even if we don't want it to be true. If you've got recapture accounts, shuffle them around, right? So I should give that account to Chris to call on, because Chris has got nothing in terms of a historical context or conversations for it. He'll just reach out to see if there's pain, right?
Nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. And there's no other, again, version of why they're not working with us or why they were and stopped working with us. So, it's really a healthy exercise to shuffle around recapture. Don't give it back to the seller that was working with it before. Chances are that actually won't help as much as it hurts.
And I go back to the keep, and we talked about the nurturing calls. How many of us have been in a business where it was a transactional relationship, it was a transactional sale, and years later, somebody might say to them, hey, who did your XYZ? Who did your boiler? Who did your HVAC? Who did your roof? Who did your website? And the guy's going to go, I don't know. It was 3-4 years ago, some guy.
Well, it's funny. I mean, we see this real world stuff, right? When I work with companies, we start dropping recapture processes into their organization. If you made that call, let's say, to a client that was a client of mine, and then we stopped working together, more often than not, when you get a hold of them, there was no good reason why they weren't still engaged with us, other than I hadn't called them.
They paid their last invoice. We never followed up with another one.
And that was it, right? So it was just, no one had reached out.
I think about a prospect that we were talking about here, and they want to transition from transactional to subscription-based models with some of their clients. And the KARE strategy of going back to the transactional people, sell now, educate later. I'm wondering if the original sale now opens the door to be the expert. They've built the trust. People buy from people they like. People like them, like people buy from people they trust. People like themselves.
I was just looking to see if anyone jumped on yet.
Nobody likes us.
We've got a ton of people that like us.
But if they go back now as the experts,
Yeah.
post-transaction, with a KARE strategy, sky's the limit for them.
Mhm.
Let's go to our last one, expand.
Yep.
And we're over 10 minutes, so this isn't going on LinkedIn.
All right.
It'll go on YouTube.
We'll go quick with this.
Perfect.
Do you want me to talk about expand?
Yes, absolutely.
So then you've got expand. And expand accounts, these are high-value growth opportunities. So they're current clients. You're probably doing some level of business with them, although you could be doing more. So it's the upsell, cross-sell opportunities. You could go deeper and wider in the relationship. They may have other departments that you can sell into, doing similar work that you're doing with a different department. They may have partner companies you can be doing things for. They may just be in a hyper-growth mode, and you can increase the level of the contract arrangement that you currently have with them. But expand accounts, different than keep accounts. Keep accounts are buying what they're going to buy with some level of consistency. Expand accounts are buying something, although they are capable of buying much more, right? The conversation is appropriately set up for them. So we talked about nurture calls for the keep accounts. For expand opportunities, you want to be strategic with setting up what we call recon conversations. And for time, I don't think I can go too deep into the recon conversations.
We're already over 10 minutes. Oh, you've got a 4 o'clock. We can't
Yeah,
go too long.
I got to jump to that one. But the recon conversation is more about things like quarterly reviews or monthly reviews in the relationship, and being a little more strategic and tactical as to learning about what future problems they're going to need solutions for. What are their long-term business plans? What are their short-term business plans? How do you kind of fit into that with things that you help provide and support in the partnership? And just being very strategic again about setting those up and having them down in a calendar with repetition.
One thing I think about with the expand is we frequently talk about the monkey's paw.
Yep.
And for those that don't know, Sandler, the monkey's paw is that initial smaller transaction to get them used to you as a vendor, get them used to you as somebody they trust. They buy the small thing with the hopes that you pull in the larger sale, the larger account. How many people had the monkey's paw and never went back for the expand? So just to read real quick, current major client, high profitability, strong growth potential, high level of vulnerability, significant relationships, the recons like you're talking about, the nurturing like you're talking about, investment target for growth. So one other thing on the recapture, I want to go back to that because we kind of jumped around. But recapture, inactive previous clients, low level of vulnerability, meaning you ain't got nothing to lose.
Yep.
Variable growth potential, acceptable profitability. If they were a pain in the butt as a client before and you wanted to fire them as a client, don't go back to the ex-girlfriend you always fought with. Don't go back to the toxic relationship. Or pass it to me and I'll call on them.
Yeah, because you don't know any better.
I don't know any better.
It's great.
You son of a... Variable pursuit investment. So there's one high-level bullet point that I want to make on this.
Hey, you want to hear a story about a recapture real quick?
Yes, absolutely. And then I'll go hit the last 2 bullet points and we'll wrap it up.
True story. Good client of ours. They hired a new salesperson. We were going through the KARE model. They took the advice, shuffled everything around, and they gave this new salesperson, from a logo standpoint, what appeared to be a pretty big opportunity, right? It's a well-known company. But the leadership behind closed doors kind of laughed about it, saying, there's no way in hell this is ever going to come back to fruition. These guys hate us, right?
Was it busy work or did they set them up to fail?
No. They sent it across because
Okay.
I said, shuffle it up and see what happens.
Yeah.
And so they gave the contact information to the new sales guy. The new sales guy had no version of what had happened before he got to the organization, right? So he reached out to this company, got a hold of the new contact who was different from the one that used to work with the client, right?
No preconceived notions, no relationship.
On either side, the two of them figured out that there was a lot of work to do. It was a $300,000 contract.
Not too shabby.
Not bad, right? But without things like KARE and having a defined process there, that's probably found revenue that's not found yet.
Amen.
Yep.
All right, 2 final shots. Every live opportunity with whom you actually want to work has to go somewhere in the KARE model.
Yeah, you can't put them in both.
Well, and that's
K and A.
comment 2.
Yep.
No opportunity can occupy 2 slots of the KARE quadrants. You have to pick one.
Yep.
So either they're keep or they're expand.
Yep.
Either they're attain or recapture.
Yep.
And in some cases, recapture could be with the same person,
Mhm.
or it could be attain as a new opportunity, same company,
Yep.
different contact,
Yep.
different department,
Different strategy.
product, different strategy.
Yep.
So yeah, so I really like this. KARE facilitates a more comprehensive account understanding on the part of everyone on the team, including you. Huge for enterprise. If you have multiple people on your team trying to make a sale, getting clarity from everybody, whether it's sales, estimating, purchasing, CEO, marketing, everyone gets on the same page for what it is. Utilizing the profiling tool for both current clients and prospects that creates a common organizational lexicon through 4 simple categories. Keep, attain, recapture, expand, identifies within each quadrant, develops strategies for each quadrant, sets targets for how much time you want your team to focus on each area.
Mhm.
You know your team's better than you. Do you want to go 25, 25, 25? Do you have small opportunities that you can expand in an enormous way, so you need to focus on expand more than attain? Those are the internal questions that you guys have to ask, and that's why Erik and I are here to help sales teams, help enterprise selling, help salespeople solve problems. So Erik, 3:53, we have 7 minutes left, or you can go prep for your 4 o'clock.
I'm going to prep.
All right. We're going to put this out in other places. Follow the page, leave us a comment, leave us some questions. Until next Wednesday, Erik,
Train hard.
sell easy. Thanks, everybody.
See you guys.